Hey, what's ready? Welcome back to News Dose, and well, we essentially got the 100% confirmation that everybody has been asking about. Microsoft CEO has definitively confirmed there will be a next generation Xbox console, and he even seemingly confirmed some of the very exciting rumors that's been going around this past year. However, all in the same breath, he also followed all that up with a very bizarre statement, to say the least, which to me tells me what I already knew all along. The Microsoft's upper management really has no clue what hardcore gamers want. But the thing is can the Xbox team overcome Microsoft's upper management? And, well, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. First, though, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for what you do, and you will receive this video through early access. Let's go get right into things, though, starting off with Amazon Gaming. One of the big themes for today is big tech companies in the world of gaming, and that includes Amazon. Bloomberg just posted a big report about how Amazon is eliminating 14,000 jobs, including a large reduction to their gaming department. This will also impact their MMO studios, which they're moving away from, including New World, which actually had a lot of potential when it initially released. It actually launched with more than 900,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is absolutely crazy. But in the long run, they were unable to keep up with their internal expectations. So, today, sadly, Amazon announced that its new season will be its final season. Now, they did mention that its servers will continue to operate through 2026, so, it's not going to shut down overnight, but the reason for all of this is because, quote-unquote, they said we've reached a point where it is no longer sustainable to continue supporting the game with new content updates. So, I'd say that this is a significant outcome for the game industry because this is seemingly another high-profile failure from a big tech company in the world of hardcore gaming. Just like Google, Amazon has struggled to crack the market, whether that be because of mismanagement, internal expectations, or just focusing on all of the wrong things like cloud game streaming. Both Google and now Amazon have so far missed the mark. What I will say, though, is that for anybody who lost their job, I hope you bounce back on your feet as soon as possible. Oh, and here's something I certainly wasn't expecting. Apparently, at one point in time, there was actually an opportunity for Hideo Kojima to work on the Matrix franchise. Now, I don't know if you've played Death Stranding 2, but that game is just off-the-wall crazy. Like, really, just some of the things that are in that game are flat-out wild, to say the least. And I say all that because Kojima is one of the most creative creators in the world. And the Matrix franchise has a creative concept that he could have played around with. So to pair its world with Kojima's mind, that could have been very interesting for fans of the Matrix series. And that's what the Matrix filmmakers wanted. Reportedly, they were big fans of Kojima, so they asked Konami for a potential Matrix-Kojima collaboration. But apparently, that's where the conversation ended. Reportedly, Konami quickly shut them down. Now, it is important to understand that this was back when Metal Gear Solid 2 was in development, and I'd say for that reason, I think Konami made the right call to focus on Metal Gear instead, which, the Metal Gear series is widely viewed as some of the best games of all time. You also have to remember that licensed games, for the most part, weren't that great back during that time. So, yeah, I think this could have potentially been an interesting collaboration, just given how talented Kojima is and how creative he is. But in my opinion, I think Konami absolutely made the right decision. And I think the success of the Metal Gear series kind of proves that. All right, now let's go talk about Xbox and their future. It still kind of feels like there is a lot of doubt among gamers that they will produce a next-generation console despite the many, many confirmations that they've given. But that's kind of the thing. It's one thing to hear Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond confirm a next-generation console, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people don't view them as necessarily the final decision makers like people used to. Now it's more so about how Microsoft's upper management feels about their gaming consoles and if they want to go forward with more Xbox hardware. Because Microsoft could shut things down at any time they want, but, well, interestingly enough, we actually just heard from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, and this is what he said about a next-generation Xbox. He said, remember, the biggest gaming business is the Windows business. To us, gaming on Windows and, of course, Steam has built a massive marketplace on top of it and done a very successful job of it. So to us, the way we are thinking about gaming is first of all, we are now the largest publisher after the Activision deal, so therefore we want to be a fantastic publisher, similar to the approach of what we did with Office. We're going to be everywhere on every platform. We want to make sure, whether it's consoles, whether it's the PC, whether it's mobile, whether it's cloud gaming or the TV, so we just want to make sure the games are being enjoyed by gamers everywhere. Second, we also want to innovate work in the system side on the console and on the PC. And it's kind of funny that people think about the console PC as two different things. We built the console because we wanted to build a better PC, which could then perform for gaming. And so I kind of want to revisit some of the conventional wisdom. But at the end of the day, console has an experience that is unparalleled. It delivers performance that's unparalleled, that pushes, I think, the system forward. So I'm really looking forward to the next console, the next PC gaming. But most importantly, the game business model has to be where we have to invent maybe some new interactive media as well. Because after all, gaming's competition is not other gaming. Gaming's competition is short-form video. And so if we as an industry don't continue to innovate both how we produce, what we produce, how we think about distribution, the economic model best way to innovate is to have good margins, because that's the way you can fund. Now, this is a loaded statement. I mean, not only did he once again confirm a next-generation console, all while they are going multi-platform, he also talked about that, but he also basically confirmed that yes, it will be a PC console hybrid, and he even mentioned Steam, which I'd say is very telling. He's not exactly keeping anything a secret here. So if you ever wanted more evidence that they're planning a PC console hybrid with storefronts like Steam, then, I mean, this is about as good as you're going to get. I mean, this comes directly from Microsoft's CEO. However, the bizarre part of this statement is that he specifically mentioned short-form video, like TikTok, as their main competition going forward. I mean, before this, they were saying their main competition was Google and Amazon, and, you know, at least that made sense, because if Google and Amazon were able to crack into the hardcore gaming market, which, I mean, they were trying to at that time, but at the end of the day, they ultimately failed. However, TikTok being the main competition for hardcore gaming consoles going forward, I don't know. That seems to be quite the leap. And like, okay, I partially understand what he's trying to say. You know, the younger generation does interact differently to content than how a lot of us grew up. I mean, younger people were much more interested in short-form content. So to some degree, they are competing for their time. However, a part of the reason that type of content is popular in the first place, including mobile games, is because everybody has a phone in today's world, and they always have their phone on them. So, you know, these are just quick things that people can consume on the go, whereas the console market, it's vastly different. I'd argue that it appeals to a very different type of audience that expects vastly different content. I mean, yes, you can port these big AAA games to phones, and, you know, you can also port mobile games to consoles, but for the most part, they're very different types of content, and they're likely not going to perform well on the opposite machine, because at the end of the day, both markets are vastly different, and they appeal to completely different audiences. I mean, these big tech companies just can't seem to figure that part out. They keep trying to act like they're the same audiences, and now they're also doing the same thing for apparently anybody who consumes short-form content as well. But again, they're just not the same audience. Short-form content might be the go-to on mobile phones, but I don't think that you can simply put short-form content on a gaming console or on a PC and have the same amount of success. So to me, if this is simply about appealing to a younger audience and competing for their time, well, then I think they need to find other ways to attract them. I mean, in my opinion, I've been saying this for a long time, but I think that Nintendo is the only console manufacturer that truly does a good job at attracting an audience from a young age, and that has nothing to do with them making short-form content. It's about the type of games that they make. They appeal to families with kids, and honestly, Microsoft should know that out of all companies because they have Minecraft. That's a game that appeals to a younger audience, and look at its success. It's astounding what that game has done. But this idea that TikTok is the main competition, I don't know. I just don't buy that. I mean, let me know what you all think about this comment about short-form content apparently being the main competition, and how this means that they need to come up with new interactive media because of it. Do you think that he actually has a point? And if so, what could they even do that would attract that type of audience to a stationary home PC console hybrid? Let me know in the comments below. Now, one more thing before we go, though, because a canceled PlayStation game just leaked out online, being Bluepoint's live service God of War. Now, I don't really understand why they thought this concept was a good idea in the first place. I mean, I've never heard anybody at all ask for a multiplayer God of War game. And I also can't fathom what a multiplayer God of War game would even look like from a gameplay standpoint. It just doesn't seem like a good idea. However, images from this canceled project has now found its way online. And I mean, if anything else, visually, it looks good, which I don't really think should be all that surprising. Bluepoint has made some of the best looking games of all time. Now, I am going to point out that those games were remakes, and that's just all the more reason that I am absolutely baffled that they shifted over to a live service project after the Sony acquisition. I don't know. Sony has been weird this generation, to say the least. Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst really believed in a live service future, and I think that's come back to bite them just a bit. Hopefully, though, this will be a wake-up call for them, and hopefully Bluepoint will go back to working on what they're best known for, and that's remakes. I mean, that's what they're good at, and, Sony has a massive catalog of games that they could potentially work on. I mean, there's Legends of Dragoon, there's the Jack series, the Sly Cooper franchise, Bloodborne, that would be a fantastic one to do. And I mean, if they really want to work on a God of War game, there is the original God of War trilogy. So I think Sony should just go tell Bluepoint, this is what we're doing, but hey, here's some images of the canceled God of War multiplayer game that nobody asked for. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.